Shabbat Shalom. Of all of the 12 tribes of Israel that are described in the Bible, there's one that stands out as being the least distinguished. We could argue over who the most distinguished is, but the least distinguished, that title likely goes to the tribe of Dan. Dan was responsible for some of the greatest splits in the history of our people, of divisions. When in the book of Judges it describes what's known as Pesel Micha, the idol of Micah, which was brought from Egypt into Israel. Who was responsible? The tribe of Dan. King Yeravam, who brought about the cessation of the 10 tribes, the split of our people, he was from the tribe of Dan. And in our Torah portion this morning, we read of the different responsibilities and locations that were allocated for the different tribes in terms of where they would stand in formation as the tabernacle, as the Mishkan would move and the children of Israel would travel. And the Torah describes that the tribe of Dan, that this tribe, the weakest of the tribes, was Me'asef, was the gatherer, was at the back, trailed all of the other camps. This is the one that walked all the way in the back. And the commentators describe that their position of being the rear guard, of being all the way in the back, was actually a merit to them. There's a debate as to what way, as Chizkuni, as the great commentator notes, it was their responsibility to gather all of the lost objects that people would drop along the way while they were the rear guard. They were the ones who would pick up the lost object. The Das Zakenim Balei Tosfos, another commentary, offers the insight that it wasn't objects that they were gathering, but rather people, stragglers, who were left behind, who couldn't keep up. Well, they were the ones who gathered them in. They were the ones who allowed them to stay with the people and to continue their march forward. They had a great merit by being the rear guard, to return lost objects, to keep people together with their nation, marching with their nation. The question is, why were these opportunities given to the lowliest of tribes? And it could be explained, it has been explained, that this is exactly the reason they were given this opportunity, because they needed these mitzvot the most. And who are we to deprive those who need mitzvot, those who are struggling with the opportunity to gain merits for themselves? Rabbi Abraham Twersky tells a story, it sounds like it was a typical story, that happened in Europe and European Jewry, where there was this elderly European Jew whose family had left, his family had gone on to the New World, had moved to America to pursue the dream. And they were sending money back home to their parents, and this elderly Jew had received the money. He went to the rabbi and he said, my children in America have sent me this money. However, this money has been earned in an illegitimate way because they violated Shabbat, because they've thrown away their tradition, they've thrown away their religion in the pursuit of wealth. And now that they've accumulated wealth on the basis of sin, they're sending the money back to me. Am I allowed to even use this money? And the rabbi's response was a very telling response and very consistent with the approach that we have for the tribe of Dan. The rabbi's response was that, from what I hear from your story, your children have given up all of the commandments. They are no longer observant at all, with the exception of one commandment. And that commandment is honoring your parents. And that commandment they're fulfilling in a very admirable way. If you do not accept their gifts to you, you are denying them the opportunity to have at least one commandment. Sometimes people might be tempted to think that observance is reserved only for the most pious. But mitzvot are there for everyone, and one should celebrate acts of goodness in whatever context it happens. May these stories, may the tribe of Dan inspire us wherever we are to perform a mitzvah, to accumulate a merit, and hopefully step by step climb up the ladder of righteousness and achieve higher and higher for ourselves and for the Jewish people. Wishing you a Shabbat Shalom.